Hello, Bill,
Hello.
and
Thank you
well
for
done.
your introduction, Amanda. I'm sorry it was much longer than you intended it to be. This is actually a highly symptomatic example of what I was going to talk about this evening, which is, this phrase all in due time. And, I could say what that could mean, like I was a father all in due time at the age of 50. For me, it's not all in due time, it's all in overdue time. And in that respect, my late arrival is pathologically a symptom of my life. And with some reluctance, I interpret this phrase entirely selfishly as all in my own due time, which is usually all in my time overdue. I was late to my graduation. I only went to one graduation, which was in Cambridge. And I realized that I hadn't left the graduation until it was nearly over. And I was pedaled frantically in my bicycle. And it was the last of the people to get to the graduation thing where you're blessed by the provost or whatever he is. I was still wearing my bicycle clips. My wife, I remember when we were in an introductory phase in our life, she said, I said, I'm always late. She says, yeah, but you do your taxes on time. I go, no, really? You do? I mean, you don't miss flights. I said, no, you mean you haven't missed a flight? But for the one time in my life, I was on time, and that was what might be called our courtship. And for a good 3, 4, maybe 6 days, I was very, very punctual until culminating in our wedding, where I was almost so late we weren't able to get married. And then for some pathological reason, I decided I wanted to move my family to Lyon to train to be a cook, a French cook. And of course, the kitchen is nothing if not punctual. And it was just walking into pure torture. And symptomatic of this, Jessica, who was the French speaker, I wasn't, organized a beautiful arrival for us. She found us an apartment. She did the inventory. She did the contract. She opened the bank accounts. She bought all our furniture from IKEA. She was getting everything ready. She even had an English-speaking babysitter for our 3-year-old twin toddlers that we were bringing with. I was flying later because I was the person who could deal with the stress of travel and twins. And I missed the flight. I missed the freaking flight. And thus began our time. Eventually, there were many travails in this, but eventually I did get in a kitchen, and then immediately saw what again was the case, that I was always late. I was late in the morning. I was late completing dishes. This is really not an appealing quality, but there was an insight once when I couldn't even get dressed in a timely fashion. The kitchen was such that it was a kitchen La Mère Brasier, a famous kitchen in Lyon, and one part of the kitchen was downstairs. One part of the upstairs was the pantry. The other part, very small, was the locker room. It was only like this big, and very big, brawny kitchen types all kind of rushed in there and got dressed, and I'd be kind of slipping around and fighting with them, and they'd all be gone, and I still wouldn't have got out of my kitchen clothes yet. It became an obsession that I had to be able to. Why couldn't I get dressed quickly? And so I used to hang out by the door at the end of the evening, waiting for the signal that you could go up and get dressed. And then I'd bolt up there. And sure enough, they'd all come in, they'd push me out of the way, and I'd still be late. Finally, I decided that in the pantry, I'd put a chair and I put my clothes out there so I wouldn't have to get them from the locker room. And then I could rush up like everybody else, and then I beat them. Well, I did that, and I got there, and they rushed up afterwards, but I was half naked by then. And I still wasn't dressed, and they all came in and go, oh, Bill, look at the pumps, Bill, look at it. They were, I was naked, really. And they were pressing my stomach, and they saying, oh, you used to be so big when you started. You were Santa Claus. Now look at you, you've lost weight. You're a man. It's the hard work. It's the hard work. And I'd just be trying to get my trouser leg in, and then they rushed into the locker room, and they're dressed, and they're gone. I think my biggest moment, my most painful moment was then I wanted to be a cook, and I wanted to be a line cook, and the patron at La Mer Brésil said, well, to do that, you have to cook the staff meal. And if you can cook the staff meal and it's good, then we can put you on the line. And I said, it's my skills, isn't it? I really haven't got the skills yet. He said, no, you have the skills. You're a perfectly good cook. You're just late. It was brutal. The meal had to be done at 11 o'clock. If it wasn't done at 11 o'clock, the chef of the kitchen took a piece of food, walked out, fed himself, and made a point of sort of informing everybody else that they were going to be hungry because of me. The worst was the Friday meal. This is a restaurant open on Monday, Friday. And the Friday meal is because there was no menu. Usually there's a protein and a vegetable, but there was nothing. You had to go in and make it up from the leftovers in the back of the pantry. But in time, I got better. I was still having problems, but I got better. And then one day, I wasn't working in the service. I was in the front of the kitchen. I was back at the meat station. I had to get something in the back from the dishwasher. And I did, unknowingly, thinking I was doing it in parody, a kind of kitchen Frankenstein walk. I'm going to go probably, to the border of this, but it's, you're basically completely stiff, completely focused. You walk like that. And then you buzz through the kitchen. You're like a horse on kind of on amphetamines. And then one of my friends in the kitchen stood up and said, Bill, you did it. You're finally a chef. You did it. You could walk like a real cook. You've got focus. Do you know what you look like in the beginning? That's what you look like. Your eyes there, your head there. Oh, you did it. And I realized, I guess I did. I then set out to learn why I was so slow. And I would study people. Like there's the kitchen skill. Like when you use a knife, you're not meant to use it until you've completely cleaned up your whole, set up everything you're going to cut. The idea is that you don't pick up a knife until you never have to set it down until your task is done. So you prepare everything. So if you're cooking shallots, every single shallot is prepared, 20 shallots are prepared. So you just, or there's a thing where you never cross your hands. Because if you cross your hands, you're wasting time. So you do something here, you do something there, you do something there. And I was looking at all these things. And maybe it was just infection or the thought of it, but I realized realizes how thick I am. That if I know what I'm going to do next while I'm doing the thing in front of me, then actually I can do the thing in front of me much faster. Big revelation. And then if I can figure out like the next two things, then I've got that I'm really faster. And then I discovered if I can think of the 5 things that I've got to do, 5 things, bum, 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 one after the other, and they're in my head while I'm doing the first thing, and they're in my head while I'm doing the second thing, and they're in my head while I'm doing the third thing. Wow, I'm really fast then. I'm really fast because I've got 5 things to do. I'm in a hurry. And it was monumental. I went home that night. Jessica was asleep because I wouldn't get home until midnight or 1 in the morning. I said, I discovered the most amazing thing. If I think of what I'm going to do ahead of time, it makes the thing I'm doing now even faster. And if I'm doing 5 things, I'm really, really fast. 5. Maybe I can do 6. Maybe I can do 7. And she looked at me very sadly and thought, you're only realizing this now? Really? My culmination was actually one day right before we closed for the summer. And it was the meal that I dreaded. By then I was enough of an accomplished cook that people started feeding me leftovers. There'd be whatever I was cooking, whatever it was. A stew, a pomme de terre puree, saucisson. And then they'd arrive with foie gras. The idea was, you've only got, the restaurant's only open for 5 days. You can't let anything sort of go off by the weekend, and by the Friday you want to get rid of it. Well, that also included langoustine, lobster, Blanquette de veau. Included a beautiful poulet de Bresse, 4 legs. And this was at 10:30. The meal's at 11 in the morning. This was at 10:30. And this was from the guy who ran the fish station. I said, Frederic, what are you even doing with chicken legs? You don't do chicken. He looked at him and went, I don't know. These are going to go off. No question about it. Maybe another 30 minutes, 45 minutes. What am I meant to do with it? How do I cook chicken legs in 30 minutes? But then I did it. I did this. I did. Someone arrived at the last minute with half-cooked tuna. I made tuna burgers. I was doing a blanquette de veau. I was doing 3 different salads. I was buzzing. I was so focused. I wasn't thinking of 5 things. I was thinking of 25, one after the other. I had kitchen brain. I'd arrived. Finally, I had kitchen brain. And then the kitchen closed for the vacation. And I came back. Once again, they punched me in the palms. They said, Bill, qu'est-ce que tu fais? Tu manges tout? What? What did you do? Do you eat everything? They're very vain Frenchmen. I said, well, you know, stop poking me in the stomach. And then I got down in the kitchen and I was distracted. I was slow. I'd lost my kitchen brain. I'm still trying to get it back. Help me.